Well, good morning all. I'm just getting up to get my morning cup of joe and have a look at a King's product that I am doing some testing on. So, like usual, I will bring you with me and show you some tests and my thoughts on this King's product here. So I've picked myself up a King's dual zone, I think it's called a Stayzcool, and it's a 75 litre fridge. Now these are the new range Kings have their 5-year warranty. They're a Danfoss compressor and supposed to be a lot better than the previous version. So what I've been doing is I've been doing some testing on the power consumption. So while it's running, I'm going to show you this. If I can get this camera to focus, we can see here that it's pulling just on 51 watts when it runs. Now I have had this running for nearly 24 hours on this test meter, and we can see over a 24-hour period it has used 0.68 of a kilowatt, so 680 watts over a 24-hour period. So that's the consumption of it. So let's have a look at the fridge, because there is one thing that needs to be looked at and needs to be fixed. So if King's watching, just need to see what we need to do here. So the fridge and dual zone, you can see I've just put some frozens in it. I've got different frozen foods so on in here on the freezer section. So I've got this side as the freezer section, and I've got this side here as a fridge section, just to put some drinks in. Now, how well does it go, or how well have I found it on the freezer side? Well, I put this tray of water in here, and within a couple of hours that froze that into ice. So I'm really happy with how the freezer section works on the freezer side, if you can kind of get the idea. However, let me just close this down. I'm going to show you one thing that I don't like about it, and that is the sealing of the lid. If you look at this, see that? And this one does the same, if I can get it to do it. I'm not going to do it, is it? There it is. What that movement is that is the lid not sealing. Even though it's got seals, the lid's not sealing. So if I open this up here, we can see there's a rubber gasket. Now that rubber gasket is not protruding out. It's actually too small, and that rubber gasket is not sealing on the base of the fridge. And what that's causing is you can see some ice build up down here, and you can see some ice build up along there like that, and that's because that seal is not sealing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some foam, stick-on foam stripping around here, and that'll fix that problem. I've done that with other fridges before. So Kings, if you're watching, you need to do something about the seal. So it's not just a little defect with this fridge. When I was looking at them in the Kings store, they had one running on display, and I noticed exactly the same thing. I lifted up the lid on the side they were using as a freezer, and it had that ice build up all around, or that frosty build up all around the lid of the fridge, because it's not sealing. So that is one thing that they do need to look at. So quality control when you're building products and before releasing them to the general public, probably want to have a bit of a look at that and maybe get that one sorted. It's an easy fix, bit of foam stripping around it, a stick-on foam stripping will get that sorted, so it's not a huge issue for me. So what temperature am I running these at? So I run -14 in the freezer side, and I run 3 degrees in the fridge side. And I've been pretty happy with the coldness of my drinks, and definitely happy with how this freezer's ice. So the fridge has just turned itself off. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop the temperature of my fridge department down to freezer mode. And I want to get this to turn back on again, because we want to have a look to see how many amps does this draw if you're running this off DC, because I'm running this off the AC line at the moment, so I can run it through that meter. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to pull out our power line. So now we're running on DC here. So I'm going to come over to my little test station where I do testing on some things, and we're going to run it off this battery here. So this battery, there's two batteries here. I've configured them up to 24 volts. I'll show you why I've decided to use 24 volts in this test. But we can see on our amperage, we can get this to focus, we're pulling 1.6. You going to focus on that? Oh no, there we go. We're pulling 1.62 amps at 24 volts. So what's our battery voltage? 26 volts there on that. So if you were running a 12 volt system, well, you would just double that. So you would be around about 3.2 amp draw on a 12 volt system. Now the reason why I've gone to a 24 volt system is this test station here, and yeah, I'm testing a kick-ass 40 amp DC to DC charger, so I'll be running some tests on that for working out in the field as we go camping. So the reason why I'm using 24 volts is the battery's here, and then the line from the battery has to go all the way up through the kitchen, all the way down to there, and that line is too long to be running 12 volt. See, that's the problem with running DC and low voltage, is the further you try and push that power, the harder it is to get the power to come at the other end of that cable. So because I'm running such a long line, then I've stepped that up to 24 volts to be able to get that power through without getting too much line loss. So 1.3 amps on 24 volts when we're running on DC for that fridge. Right, so it is still early stages for me to say whether this, in my opinion, is a good product or a bad product. I seem pretty happy with it so far, and for what I'm seeing coming out of Kings lately, I'm pretty positive that this is going to last the test of time, especially with the Danfoss compressor in it. But we do need to get this sorted out with the frosting that is around there. That certainly needs to be sorted out. And by the way, you can actually do the lids both sides like this. I kind of like that idea. That is a really good idea. Or it's very hard to try and do this with one hand, or you can actually take the lid off completely. So I'm definitely giving that a thumbs up for Kings with that design. So that is the results of the testing that I'm doing so far with the Kings fridge. So we've pulled just under 700 watts for over 24 hours for that fridge, and temperature in here is probably around about 24, 25 degrees on average. So I thought I'd bring you with me while I was doing that, because I noticed some that like it. Yeah, I want to get out and do some more camping. I want to do some more in the caravan, but I'm still waiting for my territory to come back. It's still in the mechanics. It's been there for 2 weeks now, getting the front end bushes done, getting some new struts, and the transmission cooler fitted onto the front. So I'm hoping they will get that finished, because I really want to get out into the caravan and get out traveling and get some of the camping videos for you up on the channel as well. I'm testing some of these gadgets out on the field. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below, usual thing, and wait for the next video that'll be coming out here on the off-grid / alternative way of living channel.